Are you looking for some easy swaps to reduce waste generation in your home? You'd like to be a little greener, but without the overwhelm. Today on the podcast, I'm talking with Susanna, the Nordic mum. She's an author of Nordic lifestyle with a hint of minimalism. She's released an ebook, Sustainable Minimalism, sharing ways to live with less. Today on the podcast, she shares how to reduce waste generation in your home with some really simple swaps and creative ways to incorporate sustainability into your daily life. This conversation is also a video recording that you can watch on YouTube. Let's jump into Simply Happy guest conversation. So today on Simply Happy Conversations, I'm talking with Susanna from the Nordic Mum, and she's an author of Nordic lifestyle with a hint of minimalism. I've asked her to come on to the show to talk to you about how to live with less, also to reduce your waste generation, and also creative ways to incorporate sustainability into our daily lives. Welcome, Susanna. Oh, and I forgot to say, you've actually been on the show before. So it's been 4 years since you were one of the first people to come on the podcast.
Thank you.
So welcome back.
Thank you. And I actually remember, because I remember when we recorded it, you said, oh, you're one of the first ones in this podcast. And it's still going. That's amazing. So congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Because I went back to have a look. It was episode 6. And we're at, I think, episode 96 almost. So, so that's great.
Nearly 100, nearly on the 3 figures.
200. So, 196, I think it is. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. Congratulations. I know, because podcasting takes a lot of time and effort. So that's well done.
It does. So then tell us about what have you been up to in the last 4 years since we talked to you last?
Since we last talked to, so COVID hit. And I had a podcast, The Nordic Mom, and a blog going. And then I was trying to write my first book, the Nordic lifestyle book. And COVID hit, and I was homeschooling my kids. And I just didn't have energy. And I think we all felt a little bit like meh about life. And I decided it's time to let things go. So I didn't record any episodes on my podcast, and I just kind of like extracted myself from it and from my podcast and my blog as well. And I concentrated writing my first book, which came out on July 2022. So that was Nordic lifestyle. And then I had another year until my next non-fiction book, Arctic Paradise, which talks about Finnish happiness, came out 2024, about I think April. And then on the same year, or maybe it's 2024. And then the same year, I published the Sustainable Minimalism, which is like a book between books, like a short non-fiction book. And I was really inspired by, I was studying in the Cambridge University doing this sustainable management course. And I really just wanted to kind of put my piece of, what we should do to have a better life and be a little bit Greta Thunberg and, inspire people. And also I wanted, because my kids are getting the age where they are reading and they're questioning things, and I just wanted to say that at least I've done something to try to make sure that you guys have a better life, and our grandchildren hopefully in the future will have a better life and have a place to live still. So that's what I've been doing.
And this is the reason why I reached out, because I read the book. I was like, I just want you to come on and share some of that wisdom as well. And just because there's some really great tips that you share that are simple that people could actually implement in their life, but you maybe just didn't think about it all. You also thought, oh, that's not going to make much of a difference. So I think just having your background and study. But before we jump in, maybe just also give us if you were a Barbie doll, what would you come with? Because obviously people can hear you're in Australia, but you've got an accent as well.
What would I come with as a Barbie doll?
Yeah, 2 accessories.
Two. I would probably wear the traditional Finnish costume. So if you ever look at the Nordic countries and the old ladies, what they were wearing, I would probably have that kind of a costume. But I then probably would have an axe or something in my hand, because the Nordic women are very resourceful and they do the hard work, the hard jaka. So I would probably have an axe in my hand.
And what about books? Would you have a pen or for writing?
Yeah, maybe my other hand would have a clipboard or a pen. That's actually a good idea.
And the other thing, are you still into photography? Are you still?
Yes. Yes, so I'm a photographer, so I do photography as well. Um, I do both of my sons play rugby league, so I do photography for the rugby league, the junior side that they play, and we do like a book end of the year, so we put all the photos together. So every game I take action shots and then I edit them
Ah,
and send them out, and then we do a book in the end as well. So I do photography as well. But
oh well.
writing has really been where my heart has been lying in the past few years.
Yeah, and congratulations, 3 books then, which is
I
fantastic.
know, I
It's
know,
a lot.
it is a lot. And my fourth one, I started a fourth Nordic nonfiction book, but I stopped it because I just realized that I wasn't ready to write it, and probably because my heart wasn't with it. So I kind of withdraw it. And that's why I probably did the book between books, the Sustainable Minimalism book, because I just wanted to do something. And this was a passion project, this small book. So, but I've kind of like hold myself back off writing more nonfiction at the moment.
Yep, yep. So maybe then jump in and tell us about what are some of the misconceptions that you hear about around minimalism and sustainability?
I have heard, and when I was doing the research for the book, is about, you know, you can marry those two things up. So people are
Mm,
saying, well, minimalism is about this beautiful, clean, white, cleansed house where you have little of things, and then sustainability in people conception is that, okay, well, we don't want to use plastic, we want to recycle and reuse everything. So people didn't kind of see that, well, actually they are kind of like the same thing but a different side of the same coin in a way. So when I was writing that book, I was very much looking at it that, look, you can be minimalistic in a sustainable way. You can have this minimalistic lifestyle where you live with less. We don't need all these things we think that we need, is basically what I was trying to say to people. But the misconception comes also from that sustainability is people see that you have to be this air quote ego warrior to be sustainable. But it can be actually really imperfect action that we all can do at home to try to reduce of the load on nature and on society that we create.
yeah. And it's not until you do a little bit of research and digging that you realize how much we're impacting, the environment, aren't we?
No, and it's been like interesting where I live. I live in New South Wales South Coast, and there was they were wanted to do like a farm here nearby where they had wind
I,
farm. And people so against it, and it was just like, oh, it's gonna destroy the way the whales, go by and all that. And then you can't even see it if it's so far off that you wouldn't see it in horizon. But people didn't see that, okay, but then we have a coal mines just in the same area, which are still in action. And it's like, well, then you can reduce the coal mining, which is much more harmful to the nature and in general with the wind farms. But people just don't do that connections. They kind of like they see, I don't know, this is kind of, I echo what people are like old fashioned. The coal is still the one that we want to use as a fuel. Why would we want to put the wind farm, which is going to destroy the beautiful beaches and it's going to look ugly, when you're thinking that, well, actually, it's going to reduce the need for coal. It's going to actually create employment to people. So yeah, anyway, so that was a good example of that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I just think just for me in the last, I don't know, 2 to 3 years, it's around seeing people and taking things away from people's homes and just then taking it to an op shop and seeing, the impact that that's having and the consumerism around clothing, fast fashion, and that impact is just quite mind blowing, to be honest.
I know, and do you know what? I almost think that the COVID was like a wake-up call for a lot of brands, fashion, and people in general, and societies in general, when they realized how much we were buying things and how much we were spending, amount of things that we had and we didn't need them. Like how many houses went through the the cleanup phase in COVID,
Mm.
lockdowns when we just couldn't leave house and there's like all these things and we have too many things and we just need to get rid of these things, and you realize you have two or three of same things and you have just you just have managed to get it, but you don't actually need it. So yeah, and the fast fashion, I think there's been a lot of soul searching with big brands as well as small brands, and I think it's more air quote fashionable to have sustainable clothing, like using bamboo or something more hemp or something more sustainable in clothing nowadays. So I think it's kind of coming, and I think we're kind of on that cliff where we're kind of seeing on the other side to see whether we can actually then make it sustainable, not just in the, and I say in these westernized countries, but also in the less westernized countries, and where the development of where they actually do those garments, and that's where probably we need to have some more help and some enforcement.
Yeah, definitely. And especially around the dyeing and the chemicals that they use in these clothes. So for someone who's out there who's like, I just want to start towards reducing waste in their home, what's something that you would recommend for them to do to start out?
Well, one of the first things comes to my mind is like when we go to shopping, and I love the fact that shops you don't get plastic bags anymore, so you just have to bring your own bag. So that was a great from Woolies and Coles that they started that in Australia. But I think just when you go and you buy and you have this plastic bag of potato versus potatoes, which are you have to wash them, and they're actually cheaper than the plastic bag full of a kilo or 2 kilo of potatoes. So it's just like I think we just kind of like get used to it. Everything's in a plastic bag and we just grab them from the shop and we chuck everything on those bags rather than thinking, well, I don't actually need all that. So I actually went grocery shopping today and I was thinking, because I knew we were going to have this interview, everything that I bought did not had any wraps around them. There was nothing in a plastic bag. They were all just on my basket and then on my bag. So if you are mindful when you go and do shopping, when you do grocery shopping, you think, do I really need to have these plastic wrapped apples, or can I just take those free apples there, which are not in a plastic, and I just go and weigh them on the scales and pay them as they are, rather than having to have anything in plastic. And I'm sure there's a toxicology reports as well that harmful chemicals from those plastics are actually being absorbed by the fruits and vegetables, and there's not a lot of talk about that in general public, but that is a fact that when you're actually having like a zucchinis or something and they're actually wrapped in plastic, you're actually inhaling, eating some of that plastic as well.
Yeah,
So that
that's
would be one place to
microplastic.
start. Yeah,
that's a really good, that's a great tip, that just being more mindful when we're going to the supermarket, maybe planning a little bit, because I know I have those little green bags that are in our shopping bags, but you have to remember to grab that to take it in with you, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I have like these mesh bags that I bought, and I put all my fruits on those ones. So if I have to buy like 10 apples or 10 mandarins, I have this mesh bag that I put them in.
Yes, and it's just
reuse it.
Yeah, and it's being reminding yourself of getting into that habit, isn't it, of putting it back in the car to have it for the following week when you go shopping. Yeah. Is there anything else that you would recommend to a family if they were just starting out, or individuals?
One of the things we did during COVID was we really cleansed our house in terms of get rid of everything that we looked at. We have broken things, and anything that we could recycle and reuse or gift to someone because we didn't need it. So we went through this whole cleansing. Like we had lots of toys that kids didn't play anymore. So we know people who have kids who are like younger than my kids, so they might actually want them. So you gift these, you wash them and gift them, and off they go. So there was a lot of that going on as well. And I think one of the things is like garden and kitchen. They are kind of linked, that whatever you do in your kitchen, rather than getting rid of like the stems of your broccoli or stems of your salad, you just put it on water in a little cup and you just leave it there, and it starts growing its roots, and then you just plant it in your garden. So there you go. You don't have to get rid of everything. So you can just repurpose, recycle that stem of broccoli, and another broccoli will grow out of it in the end.
Yeah, that's a great tip to do, especially because it still costs money to go and get the seedlings to plant, don't they? And that's a great way of recycling as well. What's some easy swaps that people can do to reduce waste? Obviously, that was one great one around the mesh bags instead of plastic. Is there anything else that you can think of that's a great swap that we could do in our homes to just reduce even having to purchase things in the supermarket or in the shops?
Well, one of the things is not foil, but a baking paper.
Oh,
So baking paper. So I have silicone air quote baking paper. So I have 2 silicone mats, which I use now in everything. So when I bake, I don't have baking paper at all. I haven't bought it for years. So I have to have these silicone reusable mats that there's a lot of different brands that you can buy them from, and you just wash them and then you use them again. My husband was very against them, and he's like, where's the baking paper? Oh, silicone mats. But now he's got used to it. It took him a few years, but he's used to it. So yeah, he's silicone. And then another one, like a muffin tin. We had this old muffin tin, which was like, I don't even know what was coming out of it because it was so scratched. And I was just like, even if you put something in that cup, I was just feeling like yucky, yucky, yucky. So now I have a silicone muffin, tin rather than the hardcore kind of a metal one, because the metal was
yeah.
scratched, and I was like, don't like that look of it, and
Yeah,
I don't want
yeah.
to think what I'm actually eating from there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great switch to do that's going to reduce the paper. It reminds me, the one thing that I probably did maybe 2 years ago was change our dishwashing cloths and the scourer type one as well. And they're just reusable ones. They're like one's crocheted and the other one's these reusable ones that you just put in the wash and we just wash them.
And I have this kitchen like a brush. It's
Oh, yeah.
really hardcore. I don't even know what it's made of, but it kind of like, it's some natural kind of root. It's like a root kitchen brush. So when I'm doing dishes, it's little by little, the brush kind of goes shorter and shorter, but it takes very long while to actually use it. So rather than having something which, again, it's like plastic or the spongy kind of a material, what you don't know what it actually is, then use something more natural when you are cleaning.
Yes, yes. And I used to have these coconut husk ones as well, which are great. Yeah, great for cleaning and don't scratch or anything like that.
And there's like little things like, even like looking like your lights in your house. Like, do you have the light bulbs which are more eco-friendly, more sustainable, which actually stay longer? So you can have a look at what type of lights you have in your house, and can you do halogen and different ones that are more durable, that will actually last longer, rather than, buying and I air quote here, the cheapest chips from Bunnings and getting, not so much value for your money as well. And then it's gone in a few months, 6 months time, when you might have something that lasts much longer.
Yeah. I mean, even in the bathroom, isn't it? It's like those, the like cotton wool, cleaning for your face and things like those that have come out and, a lot more popular now. And
it's
easy.
It's like in fashion that you have something more sustainable, which you can actually then wash rather than using just cotton wool pads on your face. So you have this kind of pad which is, more sustainable because it's made from textile material.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. There's just so many little things
I'd write
these
another
days.
book just on this.
I know. So what about creative ways? What are some creative ways to reuse items in your home though?
So we were doing renovations while we were also doing COVID. So that was quite interesting. Don't recommend to anyone faint-hearted. So we did a lot of things that we had, like wooden floorboards that we moved from one part of the house to another part of the house. So rather than them going to do the bin, and going to the landfill, it's like you can repurpose them another part of the house. So we just moved a floor from another part of the house to another part of the house to reuse it, rather than buying a new floorboards. And my builder was like, "You're crazy. Like, it's cheaper." And it was air quote cheaper to go and buy it. Yeah, I said, yeah, but it's not practical. Let's just use what we have. And then we had a lot of metal coming out of the house as well. So we just were like telling people in the Facebook groups that, okay, who wants to have so and so much? This is metal. There's pipes here, metal pipes, aluminium, and it all went. People just came and pick it up. So I think like repurposing, rather than just repurposing yourself, you can just, repurpose for the community. There's always someone who wants something, or they're missing something. And I find that just giving, like the other day I was clearing our garden. I have lots of agave plants which were going crazy, and I just put them all in a verge and put the message on the Facebook, and there was someone just came with a trailer and just took them all away. So again, you could have sent them to the landfill like as a green waste, but that would be really waste to send it to the waste.
Oh, no, I think that's a really great point that I think people maybe don't consider is definitely building, parts around your house. Because I find at people's homes that I'll work with, they'll have bits like old tiles and old taps that they didn't use and things like that. And I'm like, oh, yeah, let's just put them on Facebook Marketplace. Like, okay. And seriously, they are some of the hottest items. They are the first things to go. People are always looking for bits and pieces like that. So, yeah, it's definitely something to consider, isn't it?
Yeah,
is
definitely.
rehoming it to somebody else who might be doing a renovation, plus what the cost is going to save them as well.
And then if you're crafty yourself, it's like we use some of the pipes to do like a strawberry planting thing. So like really large, big pipe, and we just put holes on different sides of this pipe, and it's hanging from the ceiling on the balcony. And we just planted strawberries on it. And now the strawberries kind of taking over nearly the whole pipe thing. So then there's just like, strawberries coming down from this pipe all around it. So this is just a big white, very large piece of pipe, and it was about maybe a meter and a half long. So can you imagine, you just repurpose it as a garden thing, and you can't even tell it's a pipe now because there's so much green around it.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, that's really good. Any other tips around the house or things to recycle creative ways? Because you've got so many in your book.
I think I was talking about the chair thing, that how you can use a chair put it on a wall and make it as a it could be art, it could be bookshelf. If you have like a old wooden chair, you can reuse it in a creative way. And I think it comes down to what you have in the house and what you want to kind of repurpose and reuse. But that anything that is old and wooden, I'm always looking at it like, oh, what can I do with that? And my husband is going a little bit crazy because it's like, can we just not have any more of your creative ideas of what we can do with this? And I'm like, sorry.
But at least you're obviously doing something with it, because I do work with lots of people who have the ideas, but it doesn't like move forward. And so they still have the old chair. It's as long as we're going to use the old chair and those things, otherwise it's just becoming more clutter around the home, isn't it?
Yeah, and if you don't use it, gift it away. Facebook it away, the marketplace, or just give it to, a charity.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. But there's some really great ideas out there. Like, I mean, I could sit on Pinterest for hours and look at the different ideas for repurposing different things around the house. But obviously I don't have the time for it. But I love seeing it in people's homes as well. The ones that I do work with who do find the time and do create things with it. It can look amazing. And, it's repurposing something that could have ended up in landfill.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So what about you? How would you get people to help get their kids on board in particular? Because I'm just thinking there might be like young kids or even teenagers, because I find my teenagers I thought they were better when they were younger and they would recycle things. Whereas sometimes I'll open the bin and I'll be like, why have they put this in the bin? This is like recycling, and we've got, little bins everywhere, but it's laziness.
I agree. It's laziness. And it's kind of like you have to be on top of the children, particularly when they get the teenagers. I have one teenager now, and he's still good, but you can tell he's kind of like, the bottle there and the, plastic there. Yeah. And I'm like, no, we have 4 bins for a reason. You separate them there. And it was kind of a good reminder when we went to Finland in September last year for a month, and everything, there's like 5-6 different, and you have to know what color matches what's recycling. And they were like, oh my God. So when they then came back home, they were like, oh, Mom, we only have 4, but they had 6.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, but because they are more advanced in the way of recycling of things, and you actually get money out of the bottles. Like every supermarket has a bottle return point. So then my kids are like, oh, so can we start returning bottles as well? Because they were just putting them in the recycling. And I said, yeah, we can. So now we have like a big pile of bottles that we take like a once a month or once every 2 months, and they get whatever a few dollars that comes out of it, and they're happy as Larry, even my older one. But I think particularly with the older kids, it comes down to the fact that you have to set them examples. So if you're doing it, they will do it, and they're more likely to follow your lead if you've been doing it all along. It's like, this is the way it is. And sometimes I have to pull rank with my older one and say, look, this is not on. I don't care what your friend's family does or your friend does, but you need to be mindful that this is not just you. It affects everybody and affects people around you and affects the animals. But I find with the young people, particularly, we walk at the beach and my kids find plastic. And I remember really vividly this one day when they were cleaning like sand through this sieve, and there was plastic. Every time they did it, there was more plastic and more, and they were really upset about it, that why there's so much plastic. And this was just like styrofoam, like these white little styrofoam things, and they were like, where is it coming? It was all buried in the sand, come from the waves. Who knows where it was from? But there was styrofoam, little pieces of plastic, microplastic, and we went home probably with like a little small cup full of plastic, and we took a picture and sent it to our friends overseas and said, this is what you find in a beach. And this is just one beach, middle of nowhere. But I said, you have to be mindful what you do. And I think sometimes you have to do like a wake up calls with the kids, but it's also encouraging them. It's like showing them maybe videos. It's like, look, people are saving these turtles who have a, net or plastic something wrapped around them because, someone left it on the sea, and showing the consequences of what happens if we don't be mindful of, what we let go rather than putting it in the right places.
That's a great point. They have access to so much social media and all of that now that it's like, use it for that good of education, isn't it, around what's happening all around our world and how we can make the smallest impact. So what would you say is the biggest difference between Finland and here when it comes to recycling and sustainability?
I would say that they're like 20 years ahead of Australia, truly. It's like, if you live in a flat or a townhouse and you have like shared bins that you go and empty your bins, you have 6, 7, 8 different you have green, you have your household, then you have your paper, you have a glass, you have your tins. Everything is separated because they know the value of putting it forward, and they understand that the future business, future growth of economy is dependent upon of the sustainability, how sustainable your society and your country is. And that's not what Australia, I don't think the policies that the government is putting in place are as, and I will air quote again, aggressive as they could be. And I think Finland is kind of seeing that this is in our benefit. It's in our best interest to be sustainable, that our society is as sustainable as possible. And they're creating jobs because of it. They're helping other countries as well with sustainability initiatives, and they're showing how we can do it, how you can do it. So there's lots of things that you can do with it. And rather than, I think, the mentality and idea here is like, oh, sustainability, yikes, it's kind of going to take over coal miners' jobs, and it's kind of like this negative thinking rather than thinking what positive things it actually can bring to the country.
Yeah. And would you say that people are more mindful? So if you were to say replace your bed, you'd be like, over there, it'd be like, okay, so what's going to happen to the material and the wood and every part of the bed before we purchase the new bed, about disposing of the things that you actually have?
Yeah. Absolutely. Like if you can sell it or you don't want to gift it, you will look at it. Okay, there's what is called recycling centers. So they're like where you can actually take it, and they actually give you some money on return from it. And you just take it there, and they will look at, can we, if it's broken, can we fix it? Can we, repurpose it? Can we gift it to some who needs a bed? So that are kind of like community, society-driven recycling centers where they take everything from you. Like if you have old white goods like a washing machine, a microwave, and they will take it. You don't need it, but you don't want to put it in a bin either because it still works. But you just want to, get rid of it. You can't sell it or nobody wants it. They will still take it. They will clean it, and they might even take it apart and take take some of the components of that white goods and repurpose on something else.
Oh, that's amazing. Yes. Well, yeah. So we're 20 years
Maybe
behind.
25.
Now that you're thinking more about it.
Yes.
Because you see those things are sometimes just dumped on the side of the road, aren't they? Out in front of people's homes. The initiatives.
You have no dumping in Finland. I did not see anything in a verge of in the houses, by the houses. It's just like, it's a cultural thing here as well. It's kind of like acceptable to do that. But there it would be frowned upon, you would get fined, and would get the police called on you. It's like, no, you need to, it's your responsible, you own that thing, to get rid of it and appropriately recycle as you should.
Yeah. So a long way for us to go. Not saying that we can't, but we can definitely work towards it. So what's one thing then that you would hope that listeners could do to look after our planet moving forward?
I think education, like educate yourself, educate your family, your friends, your children, read about the subject. Don't just make up your mind because you think you know the answer, because you think this is the way, it's so hard, and it's, be the advocate in your own community for the better good for everybody else.
Beautiful. Great way to finish. How can people connect with you, Susanna? And especially around your book too, because I think that is great, because people can then download it and actually read a little bit more and get a little bit more insight into some ideas too.
Yeah. So Sustainable Minimalism, I only did ebook, and I've just tried an audiobook, but it's like an audio clone. So I wanted to see how the generative AI does my voice. So yeah, so that's available in Audible as an audio version, but you can find all my books and the Sustainable Minimalism in the nordicmumbooks.com. So that is my website where I sell everything, but the books is available everywhere, like Barnes & Noble and Apple and Amazon as an ebook, so you can find it everywhere.
Oh, thank you so much. I'll definitely have that link so that people can actually go and purchase from there and download, and the other books as well, because they're beautiful too to read and get a little bit more insight into the Finnish culture and lifestyle.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me for today's Simply Happy conversation. Are you struggling to find ingredients to put a meal together? It's time to bring ease and order to your kitchen space with our free step-by-step pantry organisation guide. Our comprehensive guide walks you through each step to help you create a pantry that's both functional and organised. Head to simplyhappy.com.au to the resource tab to get instant access today. I'd like to acknowledge the Wathaurong people of the Kulin Nation on which this podcast is recorded as the traditional custodians of the land. I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging.